Hello everyone and welcome to the Demon Power Raceway, home of the Aldershot Model Car Club, here for round one of KOC22, the MB Models King of Clubs Championship, now in its third season. The series brings together 5 of the leading RC racing clubs, on-road RC racing clubs in the UK, and drivers in classes ranging from the Tamiya Junior E for kids 12 years or under with little or no racing experience, through GT cars, F1 cars, and the 17.5 and 13.5 Blinky touring cars. And we're going to start the coverage with the 17.5 Blinky touring cars. This is always the most popular class at King of Clubs, but actually particularly this year the strength and depth of the field has been quite outstanding. Easily 10, 11, 12 drivers who all could be competing for top honours, so simply qualifying for the A final is going to be an achievement. So let's start things off by having a look at the top 10. Let's look at the qualifying scores. At King of Clubs they run a round by round qualifying system, so everyone runs their 4 rounds of qualifying heats and scores points depending on where they finish against their other 40 competitors. And you'll see in the end of that Billy Fletcher from Eastbourne that's TQ'd, that's taken pole position with 3 round wins. Best 2 scores count, so he has an overall qualifying score of 2, putting him at TQ, with second place and third place going to the 2 local hotshots, Glenn Westwood and Ben Kane from Aldershot. Those 2 have done a bazillion laps around this place, and frankly I expected one of them to be TQ, but it's the man from Eastbourne, the seasider Billy Fletcher, that's taken the TQ. Mark Boinito from Colchester, I think, is perhaps a little surprise in 4th, ahead of the reigning EWS champion Tim Langdell from Ada Club, with Ben Morey and Billy Kavanagh also from Eastbourne in 6th and 7th position. Ross DeLander, another local specialist, in 8th, and in 9th place Matt Quinlisk. I know he's from Ada Club, but he's had some great results here at Aldershot, so I was expecting him to be a little bit higher up. He's in 9th place, and it's John Gray that rounds out the qualifying for the A final in 10th position. What strikes me looking at that is the closeness of the lap times, the closeness of the scores. The Billy Fletcher there with a 23.06 and John Gray with a 23.13. What's that 1.5–2% difference between over the top 10? Certainly meaning this is going to be a close final and one to watch for sure. So let's head over to the grid as they line up for the 17.5 A main final number 1. So we'll see there on the grid, that's Billy Fletcher in the white car in pole position, that's Glenn Westwood in the yellow car in 2nd, and Ben Kane in the pink/orange car in 3rd. Good start from Fletcher on pole. Westwood is 2nd. Oh no, Westwood is off. Oh no, disaster for car number 2. Off at the first bend. That's Kane into 2nd, into the left, into the right, down to the chicane for the first time. Fletcher, Kane, Buonaiuto, murdering his name, but he's murdering this race. Langdell, Kavanagh ahead of Morey, it looks like. Yeah, there's Billy Kavanagh taking up 5th position, looking really good. Let's, over the timing stripe for the first time, let's see the lap times down the bend. Oh, well, that was Morey I saw in the corner of my eye, stuck at the chicane. Another one of the front runners out. That's 2 of the favourites gone in just the first lap. Let's have a look. They go over the timing stripe. It's Fletcher, Kane, Buonaiuto, the top 3 in the 17.5 A1 final here at King of Clubs round number 1 for 2022, the Demon Raceway, or home of Aldershot Model Car Club. Fletcher, the bearded Batcave racer, he said he hated this track, but it's loving him at the moment. He's leading Kane down the straight. Kane looks to have caught him a little round the sweeper for the 3rd time, into the hairpin, round the left. Both of these cars setting a blistering pace. Not much in it, as the circuit commentator Mr. Baxter says. This is blistering racing, fantastic stuff. Can they keep this up for the whole 5 minutes? Can I keep it up for the whole 5 minutes? What is there to say? Oh, Kane is definitely closing in on Fletcher now, looking really racy, the orange car. I think he's still driving an X-Ray under there. Fletcher, as I say, in the Batcave custom automatics is looking really very strong. Race between the 2 of these. They're gapping Buonaiuto in 3rd. None of the other racers are at their pit tables at this time. You can see in the background there, ladies and gentlemen, everyone is watching this race. This is exactly what we wanted with King of Clubs in this class. 7 or 8 potential winners, but right now it's just between these 2. Fletcher from Eastbourne, Kane from Aldershot. Nothing in it now. I think 2–3 tenths at the most as they go round the sweeper to complete another lap. catching, I think that's Langdale. He must have made a mistake, so they're catching Timmy. Going to be lapping him shortly. Langdale, the reigning EWS Winter 17.5 champ, he's not having the day he would have hoped for. I personally thought he was a favourite coming into this race. He certainly spent the money to put himself at the front, but he's at the back right now. Good driving from Langdale there, letting the leaders through. He's got a bird's eye view of this fantastic fight at the front. Fletcher in the white car, Kane in the pink car. Or is it orange? I don't know. The lack of race paint, the only disappointing thing to do with this race so far. Through the S-bend, down to the chicane. I remember speaking to Chris Granger once. He said that chicane was the hardest corner in all of RC. Well, these two are making it look pretty easy right now. What's the gap as they come around down the infield into the S's for another time? 2 minutes gone. 3 minutes to go in this 17.5 A final, leg one. This year, King of Clubs, both of the finals are entirely separate races. 100 points for this one, 100 points for the next one. Just like World Superbike, British Superbike, doing the double is the name of the game, but you'll be scoring championship points in both of these races. Fletcher looks like he's pulled the gap a little bit again. Not a lot in it, these two duking it out round this Aldershot Model Car Club Raceway. Just look at the accuracy of these two, point to point, apex to apex. They're clipping the white lines absolutely perfectly. Not too much curve, but just enough to shorten the track and maximise the lap time. This really is incredible stuff. That's Maury and Westwood, I can see just going underneath the chicane in front of me. They're going to be lap 2 any minute now. And Kane is right on the back of Fletcher now. He's looking really racy. Not close enough to make a move, but he's got the pace to catch him. Let's see how it... Oh, right, literally nothing in it now, ladies and gentlemen. Through the S's, down to complete another lap. Ben Kane is hunting down the win here at the Aldershot Model Car Club. There's 100 points for victory, 99 for second, but the moral win is worth much more to these two. They really are putting on a show for us here. You can see the audience in the background there is mesmerised by this battle as I am. This is exactly what we hoped for out of this 17.5 Blinky touring car race. Absolutely nothing in it. Who's your money on now, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I think I've got Kane. I'm backing Kane for the win here. He's holding the pace. It's harder to lead than it is to follow. So Kane desperately trying to push Fletcher into a mistake. Hasn't made one just yet, but I think whoever makes the first mistake is going to be the loser in this battle. As we know, nobody likes to finish second in any kind of race, let alone a race of this intensity. And the second place finisher is going to have a terribly long wait for the next final, kicking the dirt and being terribly frustrated because this is a fantastic race that either one of these drivers can win. Round the S's for the penultimate time and over the finish line. I think this is the last lap. Looking at the timing screen, they've got back markers ahead of them, but I don't think they're going to be a factor. Fletcher looks to have this in the bag unless he makes a mistake, but Kane is still terribly close. Round the S's, down the short straight, over the line, and it's a win for Fletcher from Ben Kane. What a fantastic race. A whoop from Rob Baxter in the race control and applause from the audience, the gathered fans watching that race. Absolutely brilliant. 100 points for Fletcher, 99 for Kane. And the full result here on screen in front of us now. The win for Billy Fletcher, car number 1, Eastbourne Club, in a time of 20 laps in 3 and 15.34 seconds. Ben Kane from Aldershot Club in second, just a fraction behind. You can see the best laps between these two. 3 100ths of a second between them. Couldn't have been closer. Mark Bonito in third. Billy Kavanagh from Eastbourne in an impressive 4th place finish. Ross DeLander from Aldershot in 5th. That was a good drive after being, I think, in 10th place on the opening laps after a mishap. And similar for Glenn Westwood, car number 2. We saw him spin off in the first corner, be dead last in the first lap there, but he's made his way back up to 6th place. That's an impressive drive in itself. John Gray from 10th on the grid, making it up to 7th place. Timmy Langdell, disappointing 8th, and Matt Quinlisk in 9th, and Ben Morey from Eastbourne down in 10th position, bringing up the rear in that brilliant race. What a final that was.